Hello again. This is Today on ENCA, DSTV Channel 43 with me, Dan Moyane. Now, South Africa and Namibia are taking action to strengthen bilateral relations. To that end, President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa is today hosting his Namibian counterpart in the Union buildings in Pretoria, Kotswane. Senior reporter Siphamandla Goge has been monitoring the visit of Hage Geingob to South Africa. It is a state visit. Good afternoon, Spa. So what has our president, said about trade and investment between South Africa and Namibia?
Those need to be boosted, they need to improve, because both South Africa and Namibia's economies are intertwined, they are linked, and at the current moment they are not doing relatively well, so they need to boost those trade relations between the two countries. Neighboring countries with strong historical ties, both their liberation movements playing their part in defeating the brutal, evil apartheid system, and now it's time to take those relations to a greater height. Since 1994, those relations have been improving. Both South Africa and Namibia enjoy cordial relations, comprehensive relations, but this state visit boils down to one thing and one thing only: trade diplomacy. Improve trade relations, make sure that both countries benefit from those trade relations. And of late, with the discovery of oil in Namibia, it's in South Africa's best interest to enhance those relations and cooperation, because the country can benefit from that oil in Namibia. And it's something that both countries are extra careful and cautious of to say. With the discovery of this oil, they need a security plan in place, because history teaches us that in most countries where oil is discovered, in a long run or short term, there tends to be instability, and conflict will just start up, and there will be uninvited guests from outside who will come in the name of democracy or in the name of whatever to try and make sure that they start up a conflict, so that while the locals are busy fighting, those outsiders are busy basically looting whatever would have been discovered in that country. So during the discussions, both leaders discussed a number of areas of cooperation, from trade, energy, tourism, as we know that both countries are regarded as the best destinations for tourism. I'm talking about international visitors in this regard. South Africa and Namibia enjoying space that guarantees them to attract more tourists. So areas of energy, areas of trade, areas of tourism, the environment and water cooperation, because South Africa, Lesotho and Namibia, they share what is known as the Orange Basin. From where the Orange River is located, they need to tap into that. There are water projects and infrastructure that is planned to ensure that both countries benefit as part of being, members or other neighbors of this Orange Basin. So those are areas of cooperation that were discussed. But on matters of security as well, remember, the president of Namibia is the chairperson of the organ of politics and peace and stability within the SADC region. And in Eswatini, there are issues and tensions. The Kingdom of Lesotho getting relatively stable or becoming relatively stable, but also the situation in Sudan is concerning for both leaders. Those are things that were discussed. But President Ramaphosa stressed the importance of trade relations between the two countries. Let's take a listen.
We have agreed to deepen trade and investment cooperation between our two countries. Our ministers responsible for trade and industry will convene a business forum later this year to be attended by business people from both countries. This will be on the sidelines of the Binational Commission that we will hold in Windhoek in Namibia later this year. We've also agreed that the ministers of trade of the two countries should put in place a mechanism to protect investment in our two respective countries. We will work together to leverage the opportunities presented by the Africa Continental Free Trade Area and the tripartite free trade area between SADC, the COMESA, the East African Common Market, as well as the East African community. We welcome the progress made in implementing the AfCFTA, including ongoing work to finalize the rules of origin for the remaining set of products.
And Siphamandla, President Geingob speaking about a number of issues, including Russia, and also commenting on the ICC. What did he say?
Says he does not believe in the concept of the International Criminal Court. He does not get it why the Americans in particular will be pushing so hard to have leaders of other countries being arrested, whereas the Americans themselves are not signatories to the Roman Statute, which gives rise to the ICC, saying, well, at some point he had to deal with another very controversial matter that concerned Kenya at the time. I think it was after the elections in Kenya when there was violence, and the ICC had inducted, or rather inducted, some of the leaders from Kenya, and he was asked to make sure that that was carried out, saying at the time he had to ask the then Secretary of State in the United States of America to say, well, why are you not part of this if you want to see this working, but we are also not part of it? Simply put, saying to President Ramaphosa, well, it appears as if every time there is a pending international issue, the International Criminal Court of Justice will have to come to South Africa and say, please arrest this one, going back and making an example about how the former president of Sudan, Omar al-Bashir, had to leave the country under that cloud because there was a warrant of arrest. Take a listen to him.
People are suffering, innocent ones, in Ukraine, and that must be stopped. And all of us must urge the parties that that should be brought to end. Now, as for the arrest warrant or whatever you are supposed to be given, I had that kind of a situation a long time ago, and I was with the American Secretary of State, Mrs. Clinton, that time, and she was so eager attacking Kenya and trying to take these people to the International Criminal Court. And I asked her, but how come you are not a member of that court? He said, yeah, our courts can handle it. So I said, how about us? So I always believe I don't support International Criminal Court because it was maybe before Namibia's independence. We have our own processes, systems, and institutions. And our courts, and they are independent. And if there any crime I will commit, I will be tried in Namibia, not in International Criminal Court.
It can't get any clearer than that. Siphamandla, finally, what's next on the visit of President Geingob in South Africa before he heads back at the weekend?
Well, for now, both leaders will be having some engagements on the side. The formal talks are done. The state visit, the official program is done and dusted. Usually, when there is such a state visit, you will have a situation whereby leaders will address business forums afterwards. But this time around, there is no business forum between South Africa and Namibia that will be addressed by both leaders. But of course, the National Council will always meet now and again between South Africa and Namibia, and or rather the Commission. They will discuss matters of trade, matters of the economy, business opportunities that are available between the two countries. So that will continue on the sidelines, and it will continue to enhance relations between business delegations from South Africa and Namibia. But as for the official program, it's a wrap in Pretoria. But we do understand that the president of Namibia, in his official capacity as the political head of his organization back home, will most likely attend and somehow address the National Executive Committee of the governing African National Congress, which is set to start tomorrow. So the indication is that tomorrow, in his capacity as the political head of his organization back home, will attend the NEC meeting of the ANC. Both liberation movements, that is SWAPO from Namibia as well as the ANC in South Africa, have got strong historical ties dating back to their struggle and fight for liberation. So it will not be surprising to see him attending the ANC and probably addressing the ANC NEC meeting.
Yeah, and both SWAP and the ANC were headquartered during their respective struggles in Lusaka, the capital of Zambia. So those relations are very deep indeed. Thank you very much, Siphamandla Goge in Pretoria. Kutswane just wrapping up for us what has really come out of the meeting between President Ramaphosa and President Geingob from Namibia. Now,